Hi, everyone. Let's play a game here. Are you ready? Imagine you are the CEO of one of the biggest companies in the world. Now, imagine I tell you that you are going to lose over 80% of your evaluation in just a few years. Would you believe me? Probably not, right? Now, imagine I tell you that you will go bankrupt in some years. Unimaginable, right? This was unimaginable for Kodak too, but this was the reality of their downfall. In 15 years, Kodak went from being one of the biggest companies in the world to bankruptcy. At the height of their success, Kodak shares were worth $90. In 2003, their shares were worth $40. In 2011, just 78 cents. And after a couple years, poof. And this is not because of what they did. This is because of what they didn't do. Even though the digital camera was created in-house by one of their engineers, they decided to put it back in the closet and never invested the time and resource to make it a reality and bring it to the market. And one of the main reasons for that was their fear of cannibalizing their own business model. Does that sound familiar? And this is not just the case for Kodak. For the case of Kodak, they didn't face the growing demand of a digitizing world, and they were left behind. But this could have happened to any company. As future generations evolve and become more and more demanding of technology and innovation, companies will become more and more likely to fall behind. Times are changing, and there has never been as more of a need to innovate as a means of survival. And the increasing turnover of SP 500 index companies indicates this. The average lifespan of a company that tops the list has dropped from 60 to just 15 years. With technology providing more and more cost-effective avenues to build and scale a business, sustainability and longevity depends on constant innovation. It is not enough to have a great product with a strong brand. Kodak had all of this. It is now imperative to look into the future and innovate to the demands of consumers' fast-developing needs. So, what is at the heart of innovation? If we take Kodak, for example, it would have been having the courage to face the problem. Film negative is expensive and time-consuming, and it was obvious that as every generation evolves and becomes more tech-savvy and demand things quicker, cameras would need to digitize. It was so clear that they invested in their own technology as early as '75. Yet, they turned away from the problem, even having had the solution. Their brand was caught into the majestic quality of film negative without realistically addressing to the position of the industry. So, the first step of innovation is clear. Face the problem. Let us use Netflix and Blockbuster as a further example. One facing the problem and the other turning away from it. Piracy was on the rise in the 21st century, and the internet became a playground for millennials to download anything they wanted, ahead of time and all at once. Netflix was also involved in classic rental service, but smartly innovated a product to address the problem, and they allowed consumers to pay for the solution. Netflix was just nominated for 15 Oscars. Wow. What happened to Blockbuster? What does this mean for the mobility industry? What is the problem? Are we facing it, or are we turning away from it? When we look at the trend that is going on with younger generations, I think it's clear what the problem is. When we look at Generation Z, over half of the generation don't see a need to own a car. And this is already impacting the future of mobility. Now, let's look at the rise of ride-sharing platforms. With so many options to move from A to B, why would the younger generations invest in a private vehicle? According to AAA, it costs around $500,000 to own a car over a lifetime. And we are not talking about a luxury car. We are talking about an average car. How could this investment remain justifiable? Not to mention the echoing effect of millennials' greener outlook. sustainable living is not only a new trend, it is a fashion statement, and it's becoming ingrained in the younger generations. So, the first step of innovation is clear: face the problem. We help our partners all over the world to face the problem. We are currently operating in 100 cities around the world, and we truly believe that mobility is a prerequisite for the creation of a holistic society with economic growth, self-fulfillment, and individual success. And that's why we think that we must keep developing new mobility solutions. I'm going to share a short video with you just to help you to understand a little bit of what we've been working on.
We built this road, this van, and these buildings. This car, that bus, those trains. We built big things and small things to solve big problems and small problems, to make us more mobile. But with a growing population, our solutions face new unforeseen challenges. Our roads are becoming gridlocked, our buildings are harder to reach, and our buses and trains are being overused every single day. That's why we use our experience to create technology that addresses these problems by connecting mobility at all levels. So you can arrive at your destination. We create the technology today that will keep mobility moving forward, because we share tomorrow.
In short, we help businesses stay ahead of the game and try to make them prosper in the world of new mobility. As mentioned, we are currently operating in over 100 cities on 6 continents to power over 100,000 vehicles worldwide. And honestly, these metrics are probably outdated since I've been on stage for 8 minutes. But let's keep in touch, and I promise to keep you updated. Okay, this one is quite interesting. What you're going to find here, of course, are some big players and companies that you can easily recognize. But what is fantastic about working with new mobility service is to see how innovative some startups are and how our technology is ready to change the whole road at once. In our office, we have a bell. And every time that we close a deal, we ring this bell. And there was a week that I've heard the bell once and got the notification after a while. And we were closing a deal in Bora Bora. The next day, one more time, we've heard the bell. This time, we were closing a deal in Saudi Arabia. And then the next day, one more time, this time a customer in Iceland. Iceland, new mobility service. It's really amazing. The new mobility wave is not a possibility, it is a reality, and it is happening. Now, I'm going to leave you guys now. Please don't be sad. But I'm going to leave you guys with a question, and I want you guys to think about it, and you can think about it today, you can think about it tomorrow. Just take your time and think about it when you can. And this question is, do you want to be the Netflix or the Blockbuster of mobility? Thank you.